Plant School is brought to you by BASF and Pride Seeds.
All right, so we're in the field here with Dieter and checking the soil before we hit the field with the planter. What are some of the things that the key critical things that growers should look for in the soil?
Well, it's really important not to plant until it's fit is usually the terminology that we use, and that can mean many things to many different people. Those of you that are regular viewers of the corn and soybean school will have seen me get on this pulpit before. I'm a really firm advocate of making sure the soil temperature is right. And the reason I say that is because in 2014, unfortunately, we saw, because we had a different kind of year where unfortunately our planting season was condensed to something like 10 days. We got into mid-May and we realized that we wanted to get our crop in by the end of May, and we were rushed. And that meant some people were rushing soil temperatures, unfortunately, which then resulted in reduced plant stands and unfortunately in some cases reduced yields. So and not only reduced plant stands but just reduced plant vigor and reduced yield potential. So in an effort to prevent it in a year that is reminiscent of 2012 for some people, we're now not even mid-April, and it's a beautiful nearly 20-degree day, and it has a lot of guys thinking about getting their crop in early. As it relates to corn and soybeans, while that is a good thought, we want all those solar panels, all those leaves up by the summer solstice of June 21st, and want to have maximum plant up. We want that knee-high by 4th of July corn that everybody wants. It's better to have a full plant stand by the 4th of July than to worry about let's get it in the first couple of days in May if the soil's not fit. It may be, we still have 2 weeks to go till the 1st of May, but please take your time, be patient. There's many different ways to measure soil fitness and soil temperature. There's many old tales of let's wait until the last bit of snow has gone out of the shelter belt. This year we didn't have a lot of snow, so I don't know if that rule of thumb exists or is pertinent for this year. There's the park your bum on the ground, and if you can stand it, it's ready to plant. I like to prefer to use modern technology or more modern technology, and I just go with soil thermometers. For corn, it's really important that we have 50 degree Fahrenheit or 10 degrees Celsius on a consistent basis. So what that means is that the temperature should not drop below that even at night, and we should have a consistent 10 degree, 50 degree Fahrenheit to get that crop out of the ground as fast as possible. The reason why we want that to happen is because eventually if our seed sits in the cold and wet, and those are two ingredients that go together, so we can kind of manage the cold by the soil temperature, but we may not be able to manage the wet. We don't always have the best weather forecasting, so it's really important to be careful to manage that risk, and we can try to predict the cold weather and plan ahead, but we can't always predict the rain as much. So we want to make sure we get the soil temperature part right, and hopefully then the rains will be manageable and we won't be having a seed that sits into the wet ground for too long. Essentially, when you put that seed into the ground and it's cold and you get some cold and wet, the first drink that seed takes will be cold. And anybody that has sensitive teeth or knows exactly what that's all about, you get a bit of a shock. So you do not want that seed to get that cold shock. We call it chilling injury. You want that seed to have its first drink after being dry and in storage for a period of 8 months or so. You want that corn seed to have a warm drink as its first drink, and you want it to get out of the ground very fast. There's much research on this, and I'll get Kelvin to insert a slide on that. That'll show it in a graphic format that the closer we get to that 50 degrees and consistent 50 or 10 degrees Celsius, the better we are and the quicker our seed will come out of the ground. So we may think we're doing ourselves a favor by getting it in early, But if that seed sits in the ground for 10 or 15 days, we're really doing ourselves a disservice. The other thing that happens with seed sitting in the ground that long, our seed treatments start to get diluted, particularly if we add wet to the cold, and we start to get our seed treatment to be washed out of that root zone. So that's something to really watch for. Once again, last year we saw some plant stands unfortunately reduced to about that 80-85% range, and there's just no way for that plant to make up for that. So it's really important to get it right in the spring and to measure that soil temperature, to look at the long-term forecast. There are now some new weather trend forecasters, Weather Trend 360 being one of them, that attempt to predict the weather now 30 days out. The Weather Network is also trying that. So there are some new tools available that'll allow a grower to look a little further into the future and to look at the weather and to make decisions based on that. As it relates to right now, today, we do have snow flurries in the forecast on the weekend, even though it's a 20-degree day today. So that is not a consistent 50 degrees in my book. So I would hold off and wait. And even though we're ready, we're set, whoa.
Maybe taking a few playoff hockey games.
Taking a few Winnipeg Jets games and root them on. Sorry, Alberta.
And Ottawa fans.
And Ottawa fans, yes.